I'm seeing it in South Florida, where I live, where most of our representatives are Republican. And the suffering and fear that the Latino community is undergoing in Miami and South Florida, all over the country. The windows of their cars are getting smashed. They're getting dragged through the streets by men in masks who are picking them. Children are being torn from the arms of their mothers. And this is happening, and our Republican congresspeople aren't saying a damn thing because they are more scared of Trump right now than they are scared of losing their seats. And that has got to change because we have no guardrails right now. We have no checks and balances. There is no oversight.
You voted for Trump. How do you feel now?
Horrible. Horrible.
What did you vote for?
I voted for change, but I didn't vote for this change.
Su nombre.
Daisy Salvador.
Daisy, ¿usted está aquí con su esposo?
Con mi esposo que fue detenido ahora injustamente.
A proud President Trump supporting family in Diamond Bar.
The election time was here. I had a full 3-4 flags out.
Even while their mom faces immigration questions.
The fact that 60% of male Latino voters all voted for Trump still boggles my mind. Most of these voters are birthright citizens, as in mom and dad crossed the border, came here, gave birth to your stanky ass, and you still had the audacity to vote for him, despite the fact that he has promised mass deportations the second that he gets into that office. Oh, he's just the president. He can't do all that, right? Bro, did y'all forget the Supreme Court literally gave this man presidential immunity a couple months ago, as in he can do whatever the fuck he wants as long as he is in a position of power? Did we really just forget about all that? So if you voted for Trump and the government finds out that your parents are here illegally, you better start packing up their bags right away. And you better be truthful to them as to the reason as to why they have to go back to their country. I hope throwing your immigrant families under the bus for an extra $80 in your paycheck is all worth it in the end.
Latinos for Trump is such an embarrassment.
I voted for Donald Trump.
And why did you cast that vote?
I voted for him the first election, the second time he ran, and again a third time. Even though he lost the last one, but
in terms of policy, what were you gravitating toward?
I was really focused on the immigration part, believe it or not.
So tell me about your stance on immigration.
From my heritage, my Mexican-American heritage, immigration is very important to me. It's been very important to our family. The misconception we have with immigration is that we should just let everybody in, right? But I also believe there needs to be a proper way to do that, as opposed to just bringing in anyone that decides to want to be here.
Who'd you vote for?
Alright guys, help me out here, because at the beginning of this video, the lady is actually complaining of South Florida being majority Republicans. Wait a minute, the last time I checked, 60% of Latinos actually voted for the orange man, and majority of those are actually living in South Florida, in Miami. We all know about the Miami, Florida, Latinos, especially the Cubanos, Venezuelans, Mexicans, and the rest. They all voted for the orange man. Now they don't like it suddenly because they're complaining about their families actually being dragged by ICE, and deported back to their countries. Well, this is exactly what you voted for. It's exactly what you wanted. As we have seen in this video, this man is admitting that he voted for deportations. Yeah, they actually like it being in the US so much, but they don't like it that other people from their countries are actually making it here, regardless of the fact that even them, their families, their mothers, their parents, their grandparents actually made it to the US illegally. So they got the privilege of actually being birthright citizens. But now they voted against their own communities, but they want to come here and look for sympathy and drag people, because of what's happening. But let's keep watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit that like button. Really helps with the algorithm. Don't forget to leave us a comment down in the comment section below. Let's take a look.
I didn't think they was going to go after Cubans. We are not the bad people. I vote Trump because he wants to help the people, but this is not right.
The fact that so many Latino men voted for Trump this election is embarrassing and pathetic. Trump won 54% of Latino male voters this election compared to 36% in 2020. This is the same man who ran a campaign on wanting to round up Latinos, is calling for the largest deportation operation in American history, recently had a speaker at his rally call Puerto Rico trash, and wants to end birthright citizenship for the children of undocumented immigrants. Like, do y'all really seek white validation that badly, or does the machismo in you really stop you from voting for a woman?
I'm seeing some misplaced anger from some Latino people coming out saying, oh, black people, you need to be out there with us, front line, standing with us in solidarity. We did. We stood with y'all in their voting booth. Black people voted in solidarity against that man. I'm not saying this is not our fight. What I am saying, we stood up for y'all when y'all didn't stand up for yourselves. Matter of fact, let me show you something right quick. This is from American Society, Council of Americas, who got their data from the Associated Press, as you can see right here. 42% Latino voters cast a ballot for Donald Trump. Y'all are house divided. Now, to compare, 81% of black folks voted for Kamala Harris. Actively voted against this, what's happening right now. So I'm not saying don't be upset, but maybe direct it towards your own kinfolk, your own skinfolk first. Because we stood with y'all in that booth.
Also, you left Latin America because you say you were living under a dictatorship where you weren't allowed to criticize the government. You know, they were taking away your rights. So you came to the United States, got papers, and voted for Donald Trump? Okay.
Alright guys, we have to set the record straight here because we've seen a lot of Latinos for Trump come up here online and trying to drag people, especially black Americans, you know, for not supporting them in their fight against deportation. Well, it's not that black folks actually do not have sympathy. It's just that, you know, they're saying this is not a fight because we tried to help y'all back in November at the ballot box, but y'all didn't want to listen. Why? Because you wanted to actually vote for racism and you wanted to vote for hatred. You know, y'all thought that, you know, it was going to be other people of color just accept y'all. Don't expect black folks to show you solidarity. It's only that it hurts you now that, you know, all of a sudden it matters that black people unite with y'all. But let's keep watching.
It's one thing to be a Latino for Trump, but a Latina for Trump, a woman who is openly agreeing to policies that will harm women rights, it's wild. Might as well just smack yourself in the face. Because that's exactly what you're doing, pushing these policies that are going to harm our reproductive freedom, policies that are going to cut healthcare that cover maternity leave, policies that are going to help cut programs to help against domestic violence. Also policies that are taking a step back on why it's important to have equal pay and work protection for women. Do you really not know how long it took women to be able to work, to be able to vote, to be able to get a credit card, to buy a house, to file for divorce? That you are now against the feminist movement because you have now been brainwashed to believe that the only important role a woman should keep are the traditional gender roles. By all means, be a housewife, be a stay-at-home mom. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But do not be blindsided to think that this MAGA movement actually cares about women and their rights, which they don't. And although you may want to be a stay-at-home mom and be that traditional woman, that's fine, you can be it, but maybe your daughter doesn't. So don't take away the rights that they have of in the future being able to decide what roles they want to play in life. Because at the end of the day, a feminist is not a bad thing. A feminist is just a woman who wants to end sexism, oppression, and discrimination.
Am I surprised that a lot of Latino men voted for Trump? No. What else do we expect from a culture that is full of abusers, even within our own families? This has always been a very hard conversation for our community to have. And I'm not saying that the Latino community is the only community that is doing this, because there are many. The fact that a lot of us have tios, primos, abuelitos who are PDF files in our families, and we don't say anything about it. We all know an abuser in our extended family who has essayed someone, a child most of the time. We always sweep it under the rug. We do not want to cause problems. We don't want the family to break apart. What are we going to do at the next carne asada if we confront the primo or the uncle? Loyalty and compassion is almost always given to the abuser and never the victim. I personally know of families today that have gone through something like this that still have not confronted their abuser, that still go to a family function, a carne asada, whatever, and that abuser is most likely there. So am I surprised that Latino men, despite the charges that Trump had against minors, still voted for him? No, I'm not. Am I disgusted? Yes. Surprised? Unfortunately not. And by no means am I generalizing that all Latino men are this way, because they're not. But we all have to be honest with ourselves, amigos, that this is a very prevalent issue in the Latino community, and it happens more often than we want.
Alright guys, there you have it actually. Bottom line is it's Fafo season, and you F around, you find out. And suddenly Latinos for Trump do not like exactly finding out what he voted for, because back in November a lot of people were shouting at y'all, trying to warn y'all that the orange man didn't care about you. They actually always gave you subtle red flags to actually learn from, but you never learned from them. When they went ahead and called one of the Latin American countries a pile of floating garbage, and y'all actually didn't listen. And the orange man actually once even told you that he only wanted your votes, but you still never listen. Again, the orange man was in office once in 2017, and he did the same thing that he was actually doing right now. He deported a lot of Latinos. He built a wall to actually make it hard for y'all to come to the United States, but you never learned. So what do you expect? People to give you sympathy? No, you brought this to yourselves, and it's time for you all to actually reap exactly what you sowed. So the only problem is that you messed it up for your own community. You have no right to call for solidarity from black folks, especially when your own community is actually admitting that they knowingly voted for deportations because they don't want you all to come to the States and make it exactly as they have. Yeah, that is some messed up shit right there. Those who have already made it only want to be the only ones that actually make it. Well, it is what it is. Let me know in the comments. I'm your presenter, Joel Mogisha. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing, hit that like button. See you in the next episode.